to another session of our career webinars. My name is Mirta Aguirre. I'm the head of employability at Virtual Internships, and today we will have an expert insights series with a very, very interesting topic, which is crafting powerful messages, insights from an expert copywriter with expert copywriter Amit Dana. So this is really cool. We're gonna find out who our expert is. But before, what are we going to learn today? Well, basically, we're going to learn who is a copywriter and what they do. We're going to learn what you need to become a successful copywriter. And then we're going to discover a copywriting technique that will help you write powerful messages. And without further ado, let me introduce to our speaker, Amit Dana, who is a seasoned copywriter with over 13 years of experience in crafting creative brand messages. As a founder of Black Belt Marketing, a creative agency, Amit combines his expertise in digital marketing with his passion for martial arts. Drawing on principles from martial arts, Amit brings a unique approach to digital marketing. And welcome, Amit, and thank you for being here with us today.
Hello, everyone. And first, I want to say thank you so much for Mirta for having me here. I'm very excited. I always love to share my passion for my profession. And I hope you'll enjoy this presentation, this webinar. Copywriting in general, like that's a big subject, let alone marketing. So I chose to be very specific. And instead of just, bragging about, oh, copywriting is so cool, I wanted to give you like specific tools or one specific tool that I know that helps me a lot. So I'm pretty sure it's going to help you all with crafting more powerful messages. So let's go.
The room is all yours.
Okay, let me share my screen. Okay. We are there. Here we go. Okay, so a quick review about today's agenda. What's a copywriter? What's a copywriter today? What do I do? How did I build? Oh, sorry, I lost it. How did I build my professional path? What makes a good copywriter? What do you need to become a successful copywriter? What's in it for me? It's an approach. This is the specific tool that I want to introduce you to and how to use it, and obviously questions. So without further ado, let's start. What's a copywriter? Obviously, it's a word myth. It's a person that writes things, usually marketing things. But for me, a copywriter it's much deeper than just the words that those personas uses. A copywriter for me is a curious person who is passionate about life and human behavior and knows how to translate insightful ideas into words. So it's not like I got a brief and I need to write this slogan for a company. And I was like, oh, here's a cool slogan that, I don't know, your brand is identified with. No, it's about researching human behavior. It's about observing people. It's about knowing how people behave in a way and connected to the brand, which sounds a bit vague, but hopefully the next slides will elaborate on that. So usually, again, as I said, like day-to-day is all about writing, right? So it's not just one specific platform. A copywriter in an ad agency or in general usually gets a brief. And let's say this brand is launching a new campaign. This campaign is about this new promotion, whatever. Okay, so to launch this campaign, we need advertising copy, we need email campaign, and we need a sales letter and landing pages to write, blah, blah, blah. So usually it's, as I said, everything that needs to be written and everything needs to be presented to the target audience. So this is on paper. This is like tier 1. Now, what do I do? My core is copywriting and strategy, okay, digital strategy. So obviously I'm hands-on copywriter, so I do all the marketing writing things, right? But before that, I'll show it to you later on about the creative process. So usually my day-to-day is I run the copywriting and digital strategy side of my creative agency, right? And I'm working with other freelancers to become basically a one-stop shop. So I have web designers, I have SEO person that deals with all the technical stuff, PPC campaign managers, everything I need to, as I said, present a one-stop shop to a client. So I believe in solving problems. So it's not really about copywriting or digital strategy or web design or SEO campaign. It's about how do I help my client, the client, overcome their marketing obstacles. Okay, as I am 13 years in this industry, so I have a lot of experience, especially in the digital field. So I bring a comprehensive approach to marketing and digital, the digital world in general. So I also do apps. I also work with gaming companies. But mostly what I do, if I need to summarize it, I think. So I'm getting the brief. Usually I'm talking with the client about like what are the real problems. So let's say the client says, oh, I need to increase my sales, obviously. What is holding you back from increasing your sales? And then when you go deeper and deeper into that question, you realize that it's not about sales. All of a sudden you realize that the branding of the brand doesn't really shows the real identity of the brand. So you do some branding, and then the promotions are irrelevant to the target audience. So you do some strategy. So overall, I sit, I think, and then I solve the client's problems. Actually, that's a sweet story how I built my professional path. I remember I was 22 years old. I just come back from 2 months in Southeast Asia, actually, Thailand and Laos. And I went with my high school friend to this, it's in Tel Aviv, it's like a Tel Aviv port. We stroll around, and then she saw this exhibit about this copywriting school. And she knew me from high school, so she knew that I'm good with words. So I won't forget it. She stopped me and told me like, look at the exhibit and think about an ad to this exhibit. And obviously I didn't know what an ad is. I didn't know what copywriting is. And actually I was able to come up with an ad. And then she obviously told me, okay, you should go to the open day. Just hear him out. I was like, I'm just, came back from the trip. I'm 22 years old. Like, I want to relax. I want to chill. I want to travel. And she pushed me and pushed me. It was like, you should go. Just listen. And I went to this open day. And obviously, they are all marketing people. So they sold it like crazy. And I was like, okay, you
Amit,
know
sorry,
what?
how old were you when this happened? And did you know anything about copywriting, or it was just like basically your friend's idea?
I was 22, and no, it was totally her idea. I didn't know anything about copywriting. I didn't know anything about marketing, advertising. Well, to be honest, I kind of like hated advertising because that was the things that interfere with me watching TV. Was when I was 22nd, there was YouTube back then. So I went to this open day, and obviously, as I told you, like this, they sold it like crazy. And I said, okay, let's give it a shot, see how it goes. And I went from not knowing what copywriting is to be the head of my class. So if I
Sometimes
summarize,
copywriting, sorry, the name may sounds like when we talk about copyright and like registering our ideas, right? But it doesn't have necessarily to do with that.
no, copywriting, again, like the plain translation is writing, but copywriting is more than that. It's about IDing. It's about thinking about creative concepts. I will elaborate later on the next slides, and hopefully I will be able to explain myself better. For this specific slide, I think if I summarize it to those three bullets that shown on the screen, one, I listened to my friend, and I think listening is a key element in copywriting. And I went for it. Like after only 2 months into the course, I only realized what copywriting is. Like I know that, okay, you need to think about creative things and it's going to be cool. That's it. And obviously it's glamorous because it's advertising and you work with big brands and you write commercials for TV, radio, blah, blah, blah. It was nice. But I think the main thing that made me stay in this field for 13 years is I fell in love with the process. Like, as I told you earlier, it's about thinking, it's about observing people, it's about human behavior. And it opened up my mind to what humans do in general. And it got me very curious about human behavior. So I think fell in love with the process was like the hook that got me into obviously continuing the course and my career. Now, the $1 million question, what makes a good copywriter? So I have obviously a lot of things to say. I will try to summarize it to the creative process. We will get to characteristics and skills and obviously technical stuff that you need to become a copywriter. But what makes a good copywriter, that's the nuance. And I think it's all about the creative process, because usually when people say copywriter, it's like, oh yeah, you need to think about cool stuff. It's way more than that. And that relates to your question, Mirta, about what's a copywriter. So here we go. As I said, I think 3 times already, it's all about humans. Okay, so at the end, even though it's a brand, and between us, a brand doesn't really exist. So it's not about the brand, it's about what it makes you feel. Let's take Nike and Adidas, for example. There's no difference. Like, they sell running shoes and they sell running shoes. They sell running gear, they sell running gear. It doesn't matter. What matters is how we feel about it. So if we stick to Adidas and Nike, then human insight with Nike, as you all know, is just do it. So they say people are prone to be lazy, which is true. So we're not gonna promise them the moon. We're gonna say, just do it. Just start. Everything is okay. Just don't overthink it. And Adidas, I think the latest campaign or slogan is impossible is nothing, which is also kind of like the human insight of Nike's, because it's, impossible is relative. So what's impossible? For me, for example, it's impossible to get out of my cozy bed and go to the gym, right? So for them, it's also this human insight is impossible is nothing. So don't think about it and, obviously just do it. So when you look at people, or when you look at a campaign or a brand, for me, I always look for human insight, because at the end, I will elaborate on that further on in the presentation, but the product and the service are irrelevant. It's about feelings. So if you say, if let's say Nike says, oh yeah, we sell the best running shoes in the world. That's okay, that's great, I guess, but it doesn't relate to me as a human, because I don't need the best running shoes in the world. I need the best shoes for me. Okay, so for example, when they sell, you see, obviously, how do you call it? Brand ambassador. So, well, Mirta is Argentinian, so we're going to use Messi. So when you put Messi next to an Adidas logo, you make the target audience that wants to be Messi to buy the shoe. But because if Messi uses the shoe, I could get a little bit of Messi in me when I use the shoe. But if you give the same shoe to any other person, if you put like a blind tasting test, if you give him like an unbranded shoe, it doesn't really matter. It's the same shoe, but it's what makes them feel. So to summarize, let's take the Messi example. If I idolize Messi, I want to be like Messi. So if I put Messi next to my shoes, let's say Adidas, right? People would want to feel like Messi, so they cannot be obviously Messi. So the closest they can get is buy his shoes. So this is actually the triangle of human insight, how do you say, problem solving, and then let's say the promotion or the slogan or the identity of the brand. So after we identify the human insight, we go into the idea. So what's the idea? It's not necessarily about the on-paper idea. It's like more like a concept, okay, like a bigger concept. So the idea is, as we previously talked about, let's say Messi, okay? So they want to advertise soccer shoes. The insight is people want to feel like the big stars, let's say Messi. Okay, so the idea is, let's put Messi next to our shoes. Simple, right? It's taking the human insight, translate it into an idea, right, that people can relate to. So it's not, this is a very important nuance. It's not always about being the most creative campaign or promotion, blah, blah, blah. It's how you translate this human insight that you just discovered into a concept, into, let's say, a pool of ideas, okay? And then when we got the idea, we create the concept. So the concept for copywriters is, let's say now, we have the insight, people want to feel like Messi. The idea is get Messi as a brand ambassador to Adidas. And now the concept, as you see on your screen, is an umbrella. What do I mean by umbrella? Today, we have a lot of media options. We have social media, we have TV commercials, we have YouTube ads, we have even Spotify ads. We have a lot of platforms that we can use. So a good copywriter would know how to translate the same idea that we just talked about to the different platforms. That's actually a great exercise that my first creative director taught me. I worked hard on that. It's not easy as it seems like, because let's say we want to label Messi as the brand ambassador of Adidas. How do you translate this idea to a Spotify ad, which you can only listen to? You cannot see Messi. Or social media, when you have like just, I don't know, 4 or 5 sentences or a paragraph at most, or a TV commercial or a YouTube ad. Okay, so an idea, a good idea is an idea that you can easily translate into different platforms. That's a very important thing to know. So if you thought about an insight, then created this idea, then you got to the concept, right? And you cannot translate it, your idea is not good enough. And after we got the concept, right, we move into, obviously, the creative itself. So you start to create the creative for each platform. As I told you earlier, let's say this client wants to go on air with a Facebook campaign, an SEO campaign, and a YouTube video campaign. And then, I don't know, a radio jingle, for example. Now it's the time to really like put it on paper and see how it works. So that's a great exercise for you all to try. As again, as I told you, if you cannot translate the idea to the concept to several platforms, you need to go back and rethink your idea. Now, what do you need to become a successful copywriter? Qualifications and skill. So obviously, there is the technical stuff. So I'm going to quickly review it. Educational background, a bachelor degree in English, journalism, communication, marketing, related field. I tell you, I'll be honest, I don't have a bachelor degree. Okay, I only got a diploma, like a course. Okay, but advertising agencies, it's well in Israel needs this kind of like, I call it social proof, because from my understanding, if you're a creative kind of person, no one can teach you that. So when I took the course, the copywriting course, I felt like they didn't teach me how to be creative. They taught me how to use my creativity or how to channel it to copywriting, advertising, and marketing. Portfolio. Obviously, if you're a beginner, you don't have a portfolio. My biggest tip is just create one. It could be on a actual brand. It could be on a fictional brand. My best tip is just take a brand, even more than that. Take a current, campaign of any brand that you like, and think of ways either to improve it or give it a different insight or different angles. For me as a creative director, my last role in advertising agency was head of creative and strategy. And when I used to get portfolios from copywriters, especially beginners, I wanted to see if they're able to think. So I got, crazy portfolios, super creative, blah, blah, blah. But if I didn't find, as I told you on the previous slides, like thinking behind it, like identifying human behavior and then the idea, the concept, and then putting it on different platforms, I was like, yeah, it's super nice, super creative, but you don't understand the creative process. So again, just choose a brand of your liking, choose a campaign, and try to give it your own spice. Certifications, again, well, these days, yeah, the advertising agencies will look for certifications, as I told you. Luckily, today it's way easier than in my time, so you can just go to Udemy, Linda, whatever. There's a lot of actually good courses that give certifications. That would be nice. Experience, obviously, if you don't have any experience, so what I told you about portfolio also applies. It's okay. No one was born with experience. It's just show the creative director or whatever you want to work with that you're able to think, and I think they will appreciate that. And obviously, I think the most important thing is the continuous learning. So the fact that I learned copywriting didn't stop me from expanding my knowledge. So I went and learned strategic planning, and then this comprehensive, I forgot the word, like social media marketing, and then ChatGPT that was recently, and then UX writing. So I think, again, if we go back to the core characteristics of a copywriter, it's about being curious. It's about how, obviously, you can expand your services, which is, a great goal, but it's about being curious. It's about, if you love it, if you're passionate for it, just learn as much as you can. You'll only benefit from that.
And Amit, I think that something that
Yes.
you said, and this is interesting for marketing, copywriting, and this kind of career path, is to understand that oftentimes, most of the times, you will need to present a portfolio. So it's great if you have the education, if you went to university, you have a bachelor in marketing, that's great. But that won't be enough, because you need to translate, as we always say, and we know, you need to learn, you need to translate your knowledge and your skills into actual work, right? And your portfolio is your actual work. So that means also that, like in the case of Amit, you can learn how to do this, and you can be super good, and you can have a super interesting portfolio and very quality one, and therefore your work speaks for yourself. So maybe there's someone else who maybe have a bachelor degree, but their portfolio is not as good. And when we think about, well, delivering a service, delivering value, we as professionals, what we want to do is deliver good work, right? So this is always interesting to have in mind, because we, as we grow older and wiser into our careers, we will always be exposed to doing new kind of jobs, activities, tasks. And it's good to know that once, and just a secret for you, you're young, but after 10, 15 years, what you studied at university won't matter. It will be, most of the times, just one line in your CV. I studied international relations so long ago. I dedicated myself to education, different things. I continued learning, kept on doing certifications, and developed skills. And for everything related to copywriting, your portfolio is super interesting. What I'm saying is, like, it is important to always have in mind that we need to translate what we know into actual doing, and the portfolio is a place to see, okay, what I can do, right? So it's good to have in mind, because as we experience new career path, maybe I may find that I'm super good at copywriting and say, hey, I like to do this.
Mhm.
So this is really interesting to understand how we can also explore a career in copywriting, even if at the beginning we say like, oh, I didn't study anything about it, right?
Exactly. This is why, if you can see the subtitle, I literally wrote the technical stuff because I don't really, aside from the portfolio and the continuous learning, it's all nice to have. Well, again, you need that. You know, companies will want to see it. But for me, as a creative director, from my experience and my colleagues' experiences, we really look for people, as you said, that knows how to translate their knowledge into actual things, even though obviously it doesn't have to be perfect. I never looked for perfect portfolios. That was, you know, a bit weird to look forward to, especially from beginners. But I really wanted to see people that are passionate and people that are thinkers. So I second what you say, obviously, Mirta, and that's a good insight. So even if you want to pursue a copywriting career or not, I think being a copywriter or at least exploring a little bit of that world will help you to translate your knowledge into words, as we will learn further down the road, and help you regardless of copywriting, with whether it with your colleagues, your I don't know future jobs, and basically anything that you would need to communicate with. It sounds a little bit vague. I'll get you that. Don't worry. So other than the technical stuff, here comes the more interesting part, for me at least, the characteristics. So as I said, you cannot teach creativity. You cannot teach attention to detail. You cannot teach adaptability. These are things that will help you the most to understand how to think, especially how to be a critical thinker. And when you take those qualities and channel them into copywriting, you'll get this, you will be eventually a successful copywriting. So excellent writing skills, don't let it intimidate you. This is obviously acquired, but you do need the basics. Like again, when I started my career, I knew that I'm good with words, but obviously I didn't have any excellent writing skills. But I was passionate about literature. I was passionate about writing. And this is what the course did to me, as I told you earlier. It just helped me to shape them into um, what a copywriter needs to be. So research skills, also it's about curiosity, right? Marketing principles. Again, it's not about now, oh, the creative director will tell you, oh yeah, I need a marketing campaign. Good luck. Talk to you tomorrow. It's about understanding how brands operate. What do they make the target audience feel? So again, it's about human insight. It's about being empathic. These are like the more characteristics that a copywriter needs. Time management, obviously, it's advertising agencies, so everything needs to be done for yesterday. So again, I think in terms of time management, it's about how calm you can be, because you won't have time, zero. So now you have this account manager, oh, this client needs that, and then another one, oh, this client needs that. Both for now. What do you do? So it's about being calm and basically being like able to process information and decide about prioritization. Okay. And if you'll be good at the creative, I'm sorry, the creative process, you'll be able to think faster and then deliver faster. But other than these, I think the key characteristics are, as I told you earlier, to be a great listener, listen to your friends, listen to your family, listen to your surrounding, not necessarily doing what they say, but like listen, open your mind, just absorb, become a sponge. I think that's the best metaphor. Just absorb things from the surroundings. Be curious about life, because again, advertising, copywriting, marketing is not about products and services. It's about life. It's about emotions. It's about how they make me feel. Think realistically big, because usually I use realistically because with my career in ad agencies, like, oh, you need to think big, think about big campaigns, blah, blah, blah. That's true. but I didn't like, as a creative director, to get too big ideas, like unrealistic big ideas. So when I say think realistically, it's about thinking about ideas and concepts that are wide enough, not necessarily big. So we don't want to waste time on things that we cannot accomplish. Let's say the client has, I don't know, 100,000 USD budget, and you think about $1 million production. That's not realistically big. That's a waste of time. But if you take this $100,000 dollars budget and you think about a big idea that suits that budget, or suits that campaign, or suits that media, that's realistically big. And I think key element is about emotional intelligence. As I will say that over and over again, it's about emotions. It's about how people think. It's not about over-promising. So let's say Nike would say, oh, if you wear our running gear, you'll run like a marathon, like a sprinter, blah, blah, blah. That's not true. And people get that. So being emotionally intelligent is about creating ideas and concepts that are based on true human behaviors. So when you go out and do the research for your next campaign, I'll try to find an example. Okay, I have this small business. It's about eco-friendly mesh bags. So when I wrote my own brief to my own target audience, I thought about what can I say to people that are not exposed to environmentally friendly products. How would I make them buy my environmentally friendly bags? Because usually the environmentally friendly people already either have the bags or created their own. So I can't really sell to them. But how do I sell to mass market? And then being emotionally intelligent, I knew that basically every person that buy produce like fruits and vegetables, their only concern is to keep them fresh for longer. So when you go to my website, you would not see any word about being environmentally friendly. It's all about freshness. So my insight was, as I said, people are looking to keep their fruits and vegetable fresher. Okay, how could I do that? My bags are not the best bags in the world. They're not the prettiest bags. They're not the best purchase you can make, but they will keep your your fruits and vegetable fresh for longer. And it worked. So how do I know it works? I have my target audience is basically all over the country, different demographies, different audiences. It could be from the big cities, from the suburbs, different how do you say, like ethnic groups, different religions. So this is how I measure my own human insight. So people look at my bags, they say, okay, I want to keep my fruits and vegetables fresher for longer, and it doesn't matter their background. So this is like the ultimate test for my human insight, and then obviously the idea, the concept, blah, blah, blah. So remember that emotional intelligence, think realistically big, be curious about life, and be a great listener. Because one of let me put it this way, the best insights will come when you listen, and not necessarily listen to words, listen to human behavior, listen to people, what they do, how they act, how they behave. So I think those four key elements will help you, again, not necessarily in marketing, but in life. It sounds,
Well, from what I'm hearing, like you mentioned it before,
yeah,
right? But it's a lot about empathy, right? And that
yes,
leads us to the very key technique you can teach us, right? Main technique from copywriting.
yes,
Do you want to tell us about that?
of course. So here we go. How to write powerful messages. As I said, yeah, your copywriting is cool, but what's in it for me? So this is exactly what Mirta is asking. Copywriting is not about being cool. Copywriting is not about being the most creative person in the room, because people are, very egocentric. So what's in it for me is an approach in marketing that says, don't talk about your product, don't talk about your service, talk about what's in it for me as your target audience. As I mentioned earlier about my bags, it's not about my bags, it's about how people keep their fruits and vegetables fresh. So to summarize it, it's a fundamental principle in marketing and communication that focuses on addressing the audience needs, desires, and benefits. Instead of just presenting features or information, this approach ensures that the message clearly highlights the value and the advantage of the advantages the audience will gain from the product, service, or idea being promoted. That's very technical. As I said earlier, it's all about how you help the target audience to solve their problems. Because when I buy a product or a service, I have some sort of a problem, right? I don't have running shoes. I need to buy running shoes. I want to run. I don't have running shoes. I need to buy running shoes. I have fruits and vegetables that are rotten. I want to keep them fresh. That's my problem. I'm going to buy bags for that, etc., etc. Now I'm going to give you, speaking about Nike, a quick understanding of what I'm talking about. So in this, I think it's one of the most brilliant ads that ever made. Obviously, by one of the biggest brands in the world. I want to show it to you first and then talk about it. So let's hear it out.
It doesn't have any sound. Okay, do you want to tell us what the ad was about?
Yep, let's do it. Oh, wait, just a second, please. So you can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Let's try with the CC. Okay, it doesn't. Anyway, I'm sorry for that. This ad is about, as you can see, a normal person just running, and the narrator is talking about how greatness is just a word. So we think that greatness is all about athletes or super athletes. This ad shows, as we talked earlier, how normal people can achieve greatness. So yeah, everyone thinks that LeBron James is great. Everyone thinks that Michael Jordan is great. Everyone thinks that whatever super athletes, Cristiano Ronaldo, Messi, whatever are great. But in this ad, Nike says, as you can see on the last shot, just a second, find your greatness. So again, it's what's in it for me. Yeah, the fact that I see LeBron James wearing basketball sneakers, that would be great. I want to have it, I don't know, to brag about it. But if you want people to connect to your brand, you have to be humble. You have to give people what's in it for me. So here, as I said on this ad, it's all about finding your greatness. So my greatness, I love it because it's super vague, but it's super specific. So my greatness, let's say I'm a martial artist. So my greatness is to be able to go to, I don't know, 5 classes a week, or maybe try a professional fight. So that's my greatness. The fact that I'm not the best in the field doesn't stop me for achieving my greatness. So I think that's the perfect example of how a brand had a beautiful insight and translated it into a beautiful campaign that resonate with the target audience and also resonate with the brand identity, which is just do it. So if you remember the umbrella of the concept, so the concept is just do it, and find your greatness is one concept within this big idea of just do it. I hope I made myself clear.
Yeah, I think that this is really cool because for me that I'm not a very sporty person, when I see, I don't know, a super brand showing me like athletes and things like that, actually that discourages me because I think like I will never be able to do that. For me, my greatness could be just to be actually put on my shoes and do, even if it's just 2 minute run, that's my greatness for me, right? So that's how I understand that they're talking to me, what's in it for me, what do I get out of these shoes, which is like I can get to be great in whatever that means to me, and not whatever
Exactly.
Nike tells me that it is to be great, right? It's like, okay, what's in it for me? I get to be great the way I want it, right? I need it.
I'm great. Yeah, exactly. I'm just great in my own way. That's it. So I achieved that greatness that they talk about. That's a shame. I sent this, I think, on the chat. Can you see it? Yes,
Yes.
beautiful. I super recommend all of you just take a look. It's a great ad, great campaign. And now, you're probably thinking like, oh, it's Nike. Obviously, they can distill their message and you know run the coolest campaigns in the world. So I want to show you two slides of that I did, right? How I use the what's in it for me approach to help my clients to better communicate with their target audience. So this is a screenshot of a website of a brand of my client's website that I wrote and designed. Thing is, quick context, this is auto replying service for Yelp. So on Yelp, people leave comments, and then obviously the business owner takes them time to reply. So with this service, they can get auto replies and then upgrade their Yelp ranking, get badges, blah blah blah. So what I did wasn't, oh, we have a Yelp responder that will reply, sorry, that will help you, that the best reply in the world. We have the best service, blah, blah, blah. No, it's all about you. It's all about how I can help you as a client to get better rankings on Yelp. So I'll try to uh, show it to you real quick. Okay, so you can see it starting with the subtitle conversation. Conversion is all that matters. Our advanced automated responder will send tailor-made responses to your customers, earning you different badges. Okay, so it's about you. You earn. It's not about us. That's more technical, but here, just a sec, as you can see, eliminate FOMO for your brand. So again, it's about the human behavior. I know that business owners on Yelp are afraid of losing clients, of losing ranking. I use that. No more fear of missing out. As a small business trying to grow, it's hard to log off. With our automatic responder, you'll be able to get a good night's sleep knowing all of your clients are getting taken care of while your online reputation is increasing. So I don't want to, read it all to you, but my point being is how you attach to this human behavior about this real problem that your client had. It's not about manipulating. It's not about exploiting. It's not about, probably you know the term pain points. So I don't like using pain points. I like using healing points. So how my service helped you to get your goals. Okay, yeah, obviously I'm going to talk about things that, bothers you, but it's not to press on your pain points and make you buy my service out of fear. It's about buying my service because you believe in that service. And it continues on and on. Business owners on Yelp are obviously not attentive 24/7. And then when I show him that this service helps them to be available 24/7, again, they think, oh, now my business is online for 24/7, right? I can get replies, I can get my ranking up, everything I need while I'm asleep. Okay, so this is a real concern of them. Again, maximizing your business social exposure. Again, it's all about you always use your, never use me, I, okay? Always put it on the client side.
And
What
here,
else?
Amit, I want to make sure that we can make the translation to everyday life. Here is a client, but when we address to anyone, whether it is our friend, our partner, our family, our boss, like the idea is that we really stress what the person who's listening to me will get out of whatever I'm sharing, right? Whatever I need, whatever I wanted to happen, right? Or even if my, like in this context, supervisor told me to do a task, and then I approach my communication by saying, okay, as you asked me, you can now find the information in the document. You will see that I organize, and this will make it easier for you to find the information. This is a very different approach than if I just say, here, I'm sharing the task, right? But if I say, okay, in this task, the interesting aspect is whatever you find, you, my supervisor, that you wanted. So it's always about showing the benefit, what the other person wants to listen. And this is really interesting because usually, right, also from my perspective as a non-marketing person, like usually it's like, what do I want to say? Right? Like the traditional perspective on communication is like, okay, what is my message and what I want to say from me? But actually the what's in it is like, what does the other person needs, wants, so they can actually say, oh, that's a great idea. So I really always need to think about what the other person wants, right?
Exactly. Oh, we talk about that later. How can we use what's in it
We
for me approach in real life?
need to have 5 more minutes.
Okay, so
Yes.
I'm gonna run real quick. That's another example. Just run through it real quick. That's another client, and I want to stop on this. Okay, so it's a service for campaign managers. My insight was that professionals want to work with professionals. This is why I chose to write made by professional marketers for professional marketers, to make the people believe that, oh, okay, we are professionals, we're going to work with professionals. So again, what's in it for me? I'm too afraid if I use your service, it's not going to be on my level. So to overcome this obstacle, I firstly, as you can see, it's like on the first third of the website, made by professional marketers for professional marketers. And as Mirta said, by using this approach, you can enhance your communication skills. You can improve your persuasion. You can enhance your personal branding also, because people think, oh, he's so empathic. He knows like what I'm thinking about, what I need. And more than that, create more effective marketing materials. Obviously, that's the end goal. So how to use the what's in it for me approach outside of marketing with your colleagues. Harness your colleagues, even the one that you don't really like. Sometimes we need our colleagues to do something that they don't like, something that we don't like, and we don't like them. It's, you know, cooperation. So I'll give you one example. To get an idea going in an ad agency is super hard. So what I used to do when I had an idea solely mine, I would go to my art director and I would tell him like, oh, you remember this idea that you had? And it wasn't his idea, it was mine. But when I told him that, like, oh yeah, it's a good idea now because I turned it to be his idea. It's not mine anymore, even though it's mine, but it's not. So this is with your colleagues. Try to think out of their perspective. What will drive them to help you? Okay. With your boss, as Mirta said, it shows attentiveness. So I can say, oh, the report is done. Or I can say, you remember you requested this report? I just finished it. It's in your inbox. So it's a, oh, I need this report. My employee listened to me. He knows that I need my report, and now it's ready. And in day-to-day, it will help your life to run more smoothly, especially when negotiating. I'll give you a quick example. Usually clients wants to give you a 50% deposit in the beginning and then 50% more when you by the end of the project. I don't like that for different reasons, but usually what I tell them is I know it's a sign of kind of, I don't want to say like it sounds gonna sound too big, but like about mistrust. Like they don't trust me enough, especially new clients. So what I do is I answer by highlighting their healing points. So what I do usually is like, I know that we're just starting to work together. I know that we're just building our relationship and trust. I know that for you working with somebody new, you want to promise that I will deliver on time and not, you know, disappear or give you like a lousy service. So what I conclude is like I cannot find new clients, but you can find new vendors. So I think when you deliver the whole amount, the deposit, like first when we start a campaign, will help me to concentrate on the job, on the project, and not about the money. And usually it works. It actually works because I resonate with their kind of like, how should I say it, fears in a way. One thing worth mentioning, talking about ideas, big ideas are usually simple ideas, as shown in the Nike ad of the young teenager, that when it's not about being composing, it's not about being like extravagant, it's about simple ideas. And trust me, that's hard work. Okay, simple ideas are usually the hardest to come up with, but if you follow the creative process, it will be much easier. Not easy, but much easier. And I don't know if you know that approach, but keep it simple, stupid. In the end, we need to deliver human insight into an idea, into a concept, into the actual campaign. As simple as it will be easier and more understandable for the target audience to sympathize, to understand it, sympathize it. And yeah, we're here to sell and to buy the product or the service. Well, we reached the end. I hope I was able to introduce you to a new approach that will help you in your daily life, obviously, with your work. And if you have any questions, now is the time.
Thank you. I think this is great because as we mentioned, usually I guess we tend to think, okay, what is it that I want to say? But we forget that actually there's someone else there, and this person will be the key to actually we having whatever we want. If it's our supervisor and we want some days off, maybe the best thing to phrase it is not like, oh, I need to rest. Maybe it's like, oh, you mentioned that the office is very noisy this couple of days, so I'm taking vacation, so that will be good for you to, come to the office alone and take your coffee in the morning. I know how much you like it, so you can enjoy while I take some days off, right? It's like putting it in a way that the other person may want to listen. I have a quick question. Someone is asking, you mentioned copywriter, right? What's the difference between a copywriter and a content creator?
Oh, that's a good one. So as you learned, a copywriter is not all about the words. It's about, again, insight, idea, concept, and creative. A content creator usually is like I resemble to architecture. So copywriter is the architect, and a content creator is basically the construction worker. So the copywriter thinks about the whole creative process, and then a content writer just takes the full process and kind of like adapt content to the platform. So usually we can see content creators in Instagram, LinkedIn, but they usually just executing a well-established creative process.
Nice. Thank you. I think this has been super informative because, as we mentioned, we speak all the time, we communicate all the time, and we address different people, different audiences. And I think this is a great way to make sure that we are really sending powerful messages, to really adapting what we want to say to who's really listening, right? What is they're looking for? What do they need? How do I, with my message, really speak to them? And I think this is something very useful also for our audience in everyday life. And someone is sharing here that this has been very insightful and they're taking a lot of ideas to
that's sweet.
apply in their life, and especially during their internship, because as I mentioned, using this approach will change your communication. Once you understand what the other person wants, need, as Amit mentioned, when you're empathetic and you said, oh, I think my supervisor is stressed. I think my supervisor is this, like how with what I'm doing, I can stress the fact that I'm helping him, right? Solve this. And when we make this shift, it's very, very powerful. So thank you, Amit, for being here. To our audience, connect with Amit on LinkedIn. We're sharing his
Please
LinkedIn
do.
profile so you can stay in touch with our speaker. And remember, we always have, we'll have a next webinar, and we hope you come again. And remember, you have 2 coaching calls to keep on exploring your professional path, questions you may have about your professional development, and that's a place to talk with your coach, whatever you want to know about your career development. Take your coaching call when you receive the email and stay connected with our speaker. And thanks everyone for being here today. Thank you a lot, Amit.
With pleasure. Feel free to shoot me a message on LinkedIn. I'll be happy to help with any question. I hope you enjoyed it and hope to see you again.
Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for
Have a great
coming.
day.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.